The locals called it the Place of Whispers. It wasn't on any tourist map, just a crumbling complex of moss-eaten stones half swallowed by the Costa Rican jungle. To our team of graduate students, it was a career-making discovery. Dr. Evans, our lead archaeologist, was ecstatic. To the villagers in the nearby town, it was a place of fear. They left offerings of fruit and flowers at the tree line and never, ever went inside. They warned us with wide, fearful eyes. Los guardianes, they called them. The guardians. They said we were disturbing a silence that was never meant to be broken. We, of course, dismissed it as superstition. We were scientists. We dealt in carbon dating and soil strata, not ghost stories. The site was breathtaking. A central plaza was dominated by a massive circular stone disc, like a giant millstone covered in intricate, spiraling carvings of serpents and jaguars. It was unlike any Mesoamerican art I'd ever seen. It felt older, more primal. In the center of the disc was a single, polished black orb, about the size of a grapefruit, seemingly made of obsidian. It was sunk into the stone, but not fixed. It could be moved. "This is it," Dr. Evans breathed, his hands hovering over the orb. "The key. It must be a ceremonial calendar, an astronomical device. It's magnificent." The village elder, a man named Javier, came to the edge of our camp that evening. His face was grim. "You must not touch the ojo de la tierra," he said, pointing a trembling finger toward the central disc. "The eye of the earth. It is not a tool, it is a seal." Dr. Evans tried to placate him with talk of knowledge and history. Javier just shook his head. "You seek to understand its history. You do not understand its purpose. It is a lock, and you are not the key. You are the thieves." He left us with that chilling warning. We laughed about it over our campfire, the lock and key theory becoming an inside joke. But the jungle at night was different. The usual cacophony of insects and howler monkeys would often fall dead silent. And in that silence, you could hear it. A faint, rhythmic sound, like stone grinding against stone, and a low, guttural whispering that seemed to come from the very earth itself. We blamed the wind. The day of the excavation, the air was thick and heavy, the sky a bruised, greenish grey. We were going to carefully document and then attempt to rotate the central disc. I was assigned to remove the obsidian orb for safekeeping. As I put on my gloves, Javier was there again, standing at the tree line, just watching. He didn't try to stop us. He just looked resigned. I carefully worked my fingers around the smooth, cold sphere. The moment I made contact, a jolt, like a static shock but colder, shot up my arms. The air hummed. I almost pulled back, but Dr. Evans gave me an encouraging nod. I wiggled it, and with a deep, resonant click that echoed through the clearing, the orb came free in my hands. It was heavier than it looked, impossibly so, and it was cold, a deep, penetrating cold that seeped through my gloves. Nothing happened. No earthquake, no demonic roar. We all let out a collective, nervous laugh. Dr. Evans began taking photographs of the exposed socket. That's when the first whisper came, not from the jungle, from the stone disc itself. It was a dry, rasping sound, like sand shifting, forming a single, intelligible word. "Free." We all froze, staring at each other. The grinding sound started again, louder now. The carved serpents and jaguars on the disc seemed to writhe in the strange, flat light. The spiral patterns began to shift, reconfiguring themselves. From the jungle around the ruins, figures emerged. They were not human. They were constructs of packed earth, tangled roots, and shattered stone, vaguely man-shaped but utterly wrong. Their eyes were hollow pits from which a faint, greenish light emanated.
Los Guardianes. They weren't spirits, they were the prison guards, and we had just sprung the lock. Chaos erupted. One of the students, Mark, screamed as a thing of mud and thorns wrapped a root-like limb around his ankle, pulling him towards the tree line. His screams were cut short by a sound like snapping branches. Dr. Evans fumbled for the walkie-talkie, but a shard of flying stone hit him in the temple, and he went down, silent. I stood paralyzed in the center of the plaza, the cold orb clutched to my chest. The guardians ignored me. They moved with a singular purpose towards the now gaping socket in the central disc. They weren't trying to kill us. We were just obstacles. They were trying to put the lock back. I looked down at the orb in my hands. The Ojo de la Tierra. It wasn't a key, it was a stopper, a cork in a bottle, and I had pulled it out. A guardian made of slick, black clay and screeched towards the socket, its arm elongating, reaching for the empty space.
I didn't think. I acted on pure animal instinct. I lunged forward and slammed the obsidian orb back into its socket. The effect was instantaneous. A wave of force erupted from the disc, silent and invisible, but it threw me backward onto the ground. The grinding stopped. The whispering ceased. The guardian, reaching for the socket, crumbled into a pile of inert mud and rock. All around the clearing, the other constructs shuddered and collapsed, their malevolent green light extinguished. Silence returned, a true, deep silence. I was the only one left standing. Mark and Dr. Evans were gone. The jungle began to sound again, tentatively. I scrambled to my feet, grabbed the first aid kit, and ran, not looking back. The official report listed my colleagues as lost to a flash flood and the subsequent landslide. I didn't correct them. No one would believe me. I keep the memory of that cold, obsidian weight in my hands. I dream of the grinding stone and the dry, rasping whisper. We went there as scientists to learn from the dead. We didn't understand that some ruins aren't historical records. They are prisons. And our curiosity wasn't a virtue. It was a crowbar, prying open a door that should have remained sealed forever. We weren't supposed to touch it. And now, I live with the terrifying knowledge of what is locked away in the heart of that jungle, and the dreadful, lingering fear that the lock I slammed back into place might not be holding.